So I don't know if people know this about me or not, but I don't do drugs. Not a joint, not a stick, not a spice, nothing. Growing up, my mom taught me my two things. My mom taught me: say no to drugs, say no to thugs. And that basically stuck with me my entire life. But it's funny because I'm in this industry where everybody does drugs. Everyone. Like every session I'm in, people are lighting up, smoking, at least bare minimum weed. And so, but it gets a little weird when you're like the only one that's not on something all the time. Like I'm just like high on life. That's it. Like there's nothing else for me but that. And I would see people and like they wouldn't even look at what they're popping in their mouth. Like someone just handed them something and that could have been Molly or a Tic Tac and they had no idea which one it is. And it's like you're about to drive home, like things are about to get very interesting for you. You're either going to be in a complete other dimension or you're going to have minty fresh breath. Like, it just is so weird. Like, people just, I don't ever understand why, like, you wouldn't ask the question, like, hey, what is this? Just so you know what you're getting into. Like, at least you can plan. Like, if you took something, your whole day might be effed up because you thought it was Orbit gum or whatever. And next thing you know, you're on E and you're just like in another freaking reality. And I guess, I don't know. With those people, I guess it's just a gamble you have to take. But what's funny to me is that people are always trying to get me to try drugs. I'm like, I'm just not interested. Like, I'm just really not interested. Like, there's enough going on in my brain to keep me and my other personalities occupied. Like, I don't need something else to add to all of that. That's definitely for sure. And like, I literally, and like my tolerance is so low as well. Like, it's just like, I take too many Advils and I'm a mess. One time I was snowboarding and I was up in Tahoe and I was snowboarding and I met some random dude, couple of strangers, and they taught me, I'm a terrible snowboarder, but they taught me how to toe edge. I was very early stages, like just learning. I used to only leaf down the mountain, looked very pathetic. And so I met these strangers on a ski lift and I was by myself and they were like, oh, we could teach you or whatever, but they're skiers. They're like, well, this is how you ski on your edge. So maybe this is how you'll learn on your toe edge snowboarding. I don't know. Anyway, so they taught me how to toe edge, but I started getting real confident with it. I was just carving out the mountain, doing my thing. And honestly, probably today you could look back at that mountain and it'll say GEE. Baby. But I was getting a little bit too confident and I just caught an edge. And next thing I know, I was doing the banana split. My body went one way, my knee went another way, and I jacked my knee up. I thought I was going to have to get like an ambulance or something to take me off the mountain because my knee was hurting so bad. I immediately like tried to get out my bindings and like my thought was, if you can walk on it, you're golden. So I could walk on it and it was fine. And I went back into I don't even think I went back into my bindings at all. I was so mad. I just like picked up my snowboard. I didn't even care if anybody was like looking around at me or anything. And, but my knee just swelled up. And I had a show later that evening. It was a 5-hour show, or maybe it was 4 hours. And I couldn't stand for that long because my knee was so swollen and so jacked up. So I took like 4 Advil. I felt like I was in a freaking Star Wars movie. I felt like the lights were streaming by. I looked down at my knee. My knee looks like Jabba the Hutt, but the rest of me looks like Princess Leia. Like I was on a whole other realm. I was just like having the time of my life, playing some songs. People were requesting songs. I'm like, whoop whoop, like, whatever. And towards the end of the set, I was like, hey guys, I might be a little loopy because I took some drugs or whatever. And everybody's like, what drugs did you take? What'd you take? Whatever, everybody's so interested, especially in a ski town. And I was like, I took Advil. And they were like, boo, started booing me off the stage. And I was like, look, I have a very low tolerance here. Like, I swear, like literally to this day, like when I've had surgeries and stuff, the doctor gives me like Vicodin or whatever. I take like one of them and I am like out for like 2 days. I mean, I am just a mess. But anyways, they like booed me off the stage. They're like, get off the stage, like all this stuff. And I was like, look, like, oh, that's what happened. Somebody's like, you bought some real drugs? And I was like, first of all, this is a public establishment. Like, I'm pretty sure there's like police like just walking around. Like, you can't just say that. But I was like, other than life, no. That's the thing about it too. People who do drugs think like most of the time they think like people who don't do drugs are lame, and I'm like, I really just don't care. So this person's like, you want some real drugs? And I'm like, other than life? They were so mad. They were literally so pressed that I didn't want to do drugs. Like, and I'm just like, why? Like, here's my thing about drugs. Like, if you can't teach yourself how to relax without a substance, that's something you got going on with yourself. Like, that's something internally going on. And that's what I learned like very early on in my life, where I'm a person that tends to be very driven, very, more on the high strung type A personality vibes. And it's very easy for you to be like, oh, I just want to relax. Let me just have a drink, or let me just, smoke some weed or whatever. And I just realized, I was like, oh, like, you actually can just teach yourself to do that, and you don't ever have to have a substance. And if you feel stressed out, you can just be like, I need to relax. Let me relax. And teach yourself that. So anyways, I just didn't want to get into it, and I didn't want anything preventing me from like doing something great. Like, nothing. Like, some people that I know smoke weed, man, they are like so lethargic. They're just like, oh, I'm chilling, like I'm in the moment. And I'm like, nah, you're not in the moment. You in a bag of chips. Like like, that's not in the moment. That's just you not doing anything. Like, not to say that that's the same for everybody. There's not. There's different. I know there's different things, different, different weeds and different all that stuff. But it's really funny though, because every time I go into a session, people are like, oh, you want to smoke or whatever? I'm like, no, I'm good or whatever. And they're like, oh, you don't smoke? Like, that's instantly the next question. I'm like, what if I did smoke and I just didn't feel like smoking? Like, people are always so curious as to why, like, I don't smoke or why I don't do drugs. But that's basically it. And again, my tolerance is low for things. Like, when I tell you, I was straight up in Tahoe, like, on Mars. I was on something else. I was like, did somebody slip something in this Advil bottle? Like, I don't think I had ever taken 4 Advil, and I was like, woo! Living another life for sure. But that's a little fun fact about me. I'll see you guys next week. That's Living Like a G. Peace.